Let's start by connecting to our Ujjayi breath. Deep, full, renewing breath. Align skull bones over sit bones. So we're going to move directly into some pranayama. We're going to do this in two parts. Part one is sound, and part two is breath holds. So part one, sound or Brahmari. Brahmari is a more restricted sense of sounding. I want to open up the door a little bit more than Brahmari. Playing around with some vocalizations. By letting our lips separate, by exploring vowel sounds, we can get a sense of moving vertically up and down. We can get a sense of growing our perception laterally. And I'll just offer briefly what I think helps that. I think the ow, the A's and the O's can help us explore vertically. Ah. So you can really feel up and down with those kinds of vowels. And then I find that the E, that spread out E sound, E, you can really explore left and right. So Brahmari can be this really just feeling the internal and the particulate matter of the body buzzing. But we can also feel the field with a D. Okay. So we're just going to explore. These are options. And we'll do about 5 or 6 exhalations or soundings. And deep inhalation. Let's feel around with sound. Here we go. however you've chosen to sound through your physical body, sound through your field. We got things buzzing. Feel that little percolation. So part 2, we'll do some breath holds, and very simple. Let's inhale for, well, no count. Let's inhale till we feel content and full with breath. When you feel most content, most full, pause and hold breath comfortably as long as it's interesting. So this might get us anywhere in the 8 to 20 count range. And then when we need to exhale, just a patient, maybe 10 count exhale. We'll just take a couple more rounds like that. So we're inhaling till we feel comfortably full. Holding the breath as long as it feels interesting. Stretch your feeling, your sensing into those places you've sounded, that you got buzzing, resonating, vibrating, charged, reorganized. And a patient, unhurried exhalation. Let's do up to one more. And then we'll set up for a seated spinal twist by way of half lotus. So I'm going to start right atop left, right foot on top of left leg. And this is in preparation to twist to our right or clockwise. So with feet active and both sit bones felt on the ground or energetically in the ground. Inhale, growing the low back bones, up the mid-spine away from the low back, the head over the pelvis, and then exhaling, we'll turn to our right. I want to provide maps and languages that are suitable for the places that you're able to explore in your experience. So I want to be able to provide physical and tangible and concrete maps and language if it's appropriate for you to be exploring the physical body, like feeling all these areas of your body turning on and becoming motorically intelligent and so forth. And I also want to provide maps and language for these more invisible parts of our anatomy, the energetic components of our anatomy. When we start to feel more subtly, we're also exploring this perispace is kind of the more common name given, but this area, this kind of pillow of air around our skin envelope. We start to explore this sphere, this bioenergetic, magnetic, kind of toroidal area around our core. And when we sound and we speak and we engage with people, these spheres of our anatomy, these literally spheres of influence interact. And so the health of our energetic anatomy plays into the health of our reciprocating and relating. So we can get all the parts glimmering and brilliant and healthy. Let's inhale and unwind from that twist. We'll switch the cross of legs. So we've got left over right. Inhaling, reaching with breath down through sit bones, tailbones. You can feel the earth. This is the bottom most part of our core. Exhaling and turn to our left. And I think many of us were working together. I'm saying that the degree to which we can sense subtly and energetically is directly related to the degree to which we're able to breathe deeply and fully. Because it's with our breath that we can explore, regulate, and change the quality of energy in our person. And when we release, inhaling, we'll unwind. Consider if there was a side, a cross-legged side that you liked a little better, or a cross-legged side you just want to sit on a little longer, because we're going to work with our hands at our neck. So if you need to switch the cross of legs, do so. We'll take the right hand. Let's reach it out today. Reach those right hand fingertips toward that right edge of your mat. We'll tip our right ear away from that right shoulder. So this right jawline and jaw joint. And the base of the skull are exposed. And so by connecting to your breath, by focusing in this right side of neck and jaw and skull, you feel the breath penetrating all of these bone cells and muscle cells and ligaments and the space of the right side brainstem, the space we call the throat, the right side of the throat, the top of the heart. As we focus, as we feel inside the body, our perception can start to change from experiencing a very solid or dense bodily experience to feeling a more spacious, felt experience of the body. I'm going to tip my chin down just for a pleasant exit. Okay. Just by rolling it down, I can easily pick it up. Other side, I'm going to stretch the left hand toward the left edge of the mat and tip the left ear away from the left shoulder. I'm actively stretching open the heel of the palm, actively stretching my fingertips away from the bottom of my brain. And then focusing or feeling into that left side, these next deep, high quality breaths. You start to feel that shimmering and that sparkling and that aliveness start to register and permeate this left side of throat and brain. And it may still feel dense, like it feels kind of like a solid noggin and a solid set of muscles. But little by little, you start to feel these little strands, these openings, these instances of the body feeling more liquidic, more spacious. I'm going to tip my chin centrally and downward, just because it feels like I can lift my head more easily from there. All right, we'll change the legs one more time. Knee pile. Let's go right over left. Knee pile. Right knee over left knee. We'll do 2 moves in knee pile. 1, kite hawk. Inhale, reach the arms out to the side. Turn the palms up. As you turn the palms up, feel the chest lift. Exhale. I'm turning the arm bones inwardly. The thumbs turn downwardly, maybe backward. And on this exhale, move, this rotation, I draw my chin down slightly. I'm going to do several repetitions. Inhale is the up move. So I'm turning my palms through that upward facing position. Exhaling, turning my palms through that downward facing position. Let's do two more. Let's get these shoulders, this emotional lubrication. And then on your next exhale, we'll move into eagle, hooking the left elbow over the right. Now, lifting the elbows just an inch, you can nest your forehead into your forearms, thereby exposing the back of the neck, the top of the spine. And focus, feeling your breath get absorbed by these spine bones, the nerves, this nerve liquid, cerebral spinal fluid. Letting the rise and the fall of each respiratory cycle be that little undulating massage that starts to free up each of these little bony spinal segments. Let the breath start to wake up the spine. It's a very different experience than when our efforts wake up the spine. They're both really wonderful. We're just discovering, finding out how our breath can interface in all of these areas of our body. And inhaling, unwind. We'll release. We'll change sides. Pause in the middle to straighten and contract those leg muscles. When we move into a knee pile, the other side is left over right. First, kite hawk. So working these rotations of the arm bones just to help kind of get the rib cage and the shoulder joints just moving and flowing. Inhale, reach the arms out to the side, passing the palms through that upward facing position, chest lifts. And then exhaling is passing the palms through that downward facing position and chin down. Let's do a few more on our own. Inhale is the up move. And then exhaling is the down move. Now on this next exhalation, moving into eagle, this will be right elbow over left. So elbow over elbow, linking the fingertips or palms if possible. Raising the elbows slightly and create a nest for your head. And you might feel for breathing through this back of brain, back of neck, back of heart, sensing the breath permeate, like it gets soaked up by the body, almost like rainwater to soil. Just feeling that breath seep right into these vital nerves. Noticing if there's any hesitation to receiving this breath as nourishment in the body. I find those instances fascinating. Can sometimes feel like a little flinch or a diversion. And then inhale, let's unwind the arms, we'll unwind the legs. And let's lie on our back as we get ready to do some abdominals. Have your roll and your block close by. We'll get to those props momentarily. Once you're lying on your back, we'll go feet off ground. Elbow to knee seems to be the most accessible, easy on most backs as a first course of action. So we'll bring the feet off the ground, the hands placed behind the head. Now, having gifted the neck and the shoulders with all that wonderful motion and breath and attention, here you can reach the elbows toward the sky and feel that slight opening through the back of the neck and the back of the heart and the shoulders. Inhale the head and the shoulders off the ground. And pausing, a little abdominal pressure sets the back toward the ground. Exhale, reach out through the left leg. At the same time, I extend the left leg, reaching the elbows slightly toward the right thigh, drawing the low belly down, keeping that left half of my back on the ground. Inhale, come back centrally, bend knee. Abdominal pressure sets low back on ground. Exhale, right leg reaches. And as you send your elbows slightly toward left leg, feel for setting that right half of your low back to the ground. Draw the low belly down. Inhale, come back centrally. A little abdominal pressure sets the back on the ground, and as you exhale, the left leg out. As you're moving those elbows toward the right thigh, a little extra intentional move, set that left back pocket to the ground. Pull low belly down. Sometimes these parts of the pelvis and the back that kind of squiggle and wiggle a little bit. Inhale, come back centrally. A little abdominal pressure helps you feel the back, the spine on the ground. Exhale, right leg reaches out. As you move those elbows toward that right thigh, get and keep that right back pocket on the ground. Pull low belly down. Let's do the last two on each side on our own. So in a sense, we're using our abdominals to help foreground, feel in a more magnified way, the back halves of our pelvis, the two halves of our low back. And of course, when you're through, we'll set the head down, we'll set the feet down. Just remembering deep breath. And grab your roll. We'll place roll between legs. We'll be doing some twisting abs with a roll. So we'll bring legs straight up or skyward. The two halves of my pelvis contacting the ground. Hands interlaced behind head. And here we go. Inhale into the low belly, the low back, both halves of the low back. As you're breathing down into that low back, let's float the head and the shoulder blades up. Squeeze the roll. And now exhaling, as you abdominally pressurize the low back to the ground, reach the elbows toward the right thigh. Maintain the squeeze. In fact, let's increase the squeeze, drawing the low belly down away from the roll. Good. Inhale, come back centrally, but we'll keep the head and the shoulders up. And the legs. Squeeze the roll. Exhaling as you abdominally pressurize the low back to the ground, reach the elbows toward the left thigh. Increase the squeeze of inner legs, drawing the low belly down away from the roll. Inhale, come back centrally. We'll just do a couple more to the right leg and to the left leg. Pause, squeeze the roll. Exhaling, abdominally pressurizing the back to remain on the floor, so downward. Reaching the elbows toward my right thigh. Increase squeeze of legs into roll. And now draw the low belly down. So all of these actions in the lower part of our torso, it's kind of like squeezing a toothpaste tube from the bottom. Inhale, come back centrally. Squeeze, roll, abdominals, kind of pressurize the top of the sacrum toward the ground. The tailbone shifts. Exhale, elbows toward the left thigh. Increase the squeeze. Stretch the soles of the feet, the ball mounts of the feet toward the sky. Draw the low belly down. Inhale, come back centrally, keeping the shoulders up. All right, one more on each side. Here we go. Squeeze the roll. Exhaling, curl tailbone, elbows reach right. Increase squeeze. That's legs on roll. Draw the low belly down away from the roll. Good. Last one. Inhale, come back centrally. Momentarily hold breath, squeeze, roll. Little abdominal pressure keeps the back down, shifts the tailbone up. Exhale, elbows toward left thigh, increasing squeeze, spreading those foot bones. Pull low belly down. And as we inhale back to center, set the head down, exhaling, set the feet down. Well, that was fun. All right. So as you connect to breath, feel breath kind of inhabiting, pervading this abdominal and this low back and pelvic space. Now we're setting up for bridge. This is where our block will become helpful. So we're set up, feet hip width apart, heels fingertip distance away. So reach down with hands. Inhaling. You can feel as you apply that very slight abdominal pressure, you can feed your breath. You can route your breath into the sacral parts of your torso. Exhale, shift the tailbone toward the sky. Now the pelvis, almost like a rocking chair, it rocks. The tailbone lifts, the pelvis lifts, the spine lifts, and we have entered bridge. Connect to your deep breath. And now, having worked some activities in the low belly to awaken, to increase sensation, to help brighten our conscious connection to the hips and the pelvis, begin your breath in your pelvis. Grow this deep Ujjayi breath, grow it right up and into the heart. So in a sense, you're spreading that breath. Now, whenever you want to apply your block, reach for it and slip it underneath your sacrum. The tall way. And then with the feet active and the left foot planted, pressing, supporting you. Inhale, pick that right foot up. Exhale, reach it skyward. So I'm lifting this right leg bone away from the block. Same time, sending, reaching the left thigh bone away from the block. So that's forward. Slightly different direction. Good girl. Now, if you're having a flexible moment today, feel free to draw your right leg that's airbound, draw it toward the right ear. And inhale, let's set that right foot down on the ground. Now, before we change sides, as you're pressing both feet and both legs vibrantly into the ground, just note any difference between the two. Again, as we practice sensing our body, breathing, feeling our breath in our body, sometimes the perceptual shift that tends to occur is experiencing the body as a dense, solid object gradually feels like a more spacious, translucent or transparent spatial perspective. All right, let's do the other side. Right foot is planted down. Inhale, draw this left foot up. Exhaling, send left leg upward, away from the block. Inhale, placing that left foot back down on the ground. We'll remain here in bridge for one more item, half Virasana. With your right hand, reach down for your right ankle. Get a hold of it, start to draw it back. Drawing the right foot back with my hand until or unless I can place the top of my right foot on the ground. Now, keeping that left leg vibrant will allow you to press and keep shifting the tailbone toward the sky. The function of that movement is so you don't feel the clamping or the compression in your low back. So that's the why. If you feel a little smushed in your low back, then press that sole of left foot down ever more firmly and feel for that pelvic shift, that tailbone shift that relieves the low back of compression. I'll just focus momentarily into the right hip. Breathe, feeling your breath inside that right hip socket. And then exhaling, can you feel any relief? The growth of any more space in that right hip as you reach through that right thigh bone. Okay. Let's let the right foot go back to the ground. We'll switch sides. Left hand, reach forward, grab left foot, and help draw it back, drawing that left foot back. And quite possibly getting the top of the left foot to rest atop your mat. Connect to deep Ujjayi breath. Exhaling, press through that sole of right foot. Keep that right leg vibrant. To me, vibrancy is just foregrounding again any sense, any feeling, sensing capacity I have for that area. So if pressing into that right leg helps me feel the right leg more clearly and more fully, that to me is a change in vibrancy. And to my eye, what's really fun and cool is in our intention to enliven, we can see, feel. Well, my skill set allows me to see and feel that area, that energetic anatomy. It brightens up. You can actually see kind of the space around the body brightening up just prior to and just as we're doing a vibrant move. All right, let's replace that foot to the ground. Now, when you have both feet down, push once again, shift that tailbone up, remove that block from underneath your sacrum, and we begin our descent out of bridge. Once we've lowered entirely, let's turn onto a side. And let's set up dolphin. So cute. So in dolphin, we'll go elbows under shoulders, knees under hips. When you have your forearms the way you like them, either parallel or hands clasped, inhale into the back of the heart, the sides of the heart. With toes curled under, exhale, knees off ground. We're in dolphin. Now, as vibrantly as we'd been pressing into those legs, now we give that gift to our shoulders, to the space around our heart. So feel for this. By way of the pose's demands, we're using the arms and the shoulders more strongly. By way of our intention to press and to behave vibrantly through those arms and those palms and fingers. And the intention to feel the shoulders become more spacious in combination with each deep breath. So there's a lot of really great stuff working as you focus and feel the shoulder girdle. Does it brighten? Does it lighten? So there's a particular intention and effort. We're running through the shoulders. We're connected to our deep Ujjayi breath, feeling the breath pervade the shoulder structures. And not only the structures of the shoulder, the space of the shoulders. Using the legs, turning on those vibrant legs, move the sit bones away from the shoulders. So you're lightening through the core, helping lift the mass of your torso away from the shoulder joints. And gently set the knees down. That's plenty. Slide hands under shoulders. On your next exhalation, downward dog. Exhaling, pressing the knees off the ground, entering downward dog. Warrior two. Inhale, step left foot between the hands. Reach arms out to side. If you love that subtle repositioning of palms up, if you like the way that helps you access this front part of the shoulder and chest, you're welcome to use that variant. I'm going to do that today because I'm interested in this rib shoulder area. Okay. Working archer, just one arm of our archer. So right hand behind back. Now my left hand I'm using to, I'll show you another way. I'm using to keep the wrist in its elevation. So I'm just using the left hand to hold the right wrist in place. Okay, that's it. Now inhaling, telescope the ribs up to feel the ribs articulating. And exhaling, reach the right elbow down. Because I'm holding the wrist in place, it's kind of like a lever. The right elbow reaches down, the right shoulder softens, maybe the right shoulder slides down. Okay. Now extended warrior chest opener. So I'm going to let that right hand go, straightening it to relieve it. Inhale, place the left forearm atop your left thigh. Raise the right arm, not quite vertically. As we reconnect to breath, feel how that breath fully penetrates, permeates through the shoulder and the chest structure. All right, interlock warrior. Lower the right arm. Inhaling, lower the left armpit to that area inside the left thigh. Smoothly connect the hands behind this left hip. And release. Inhale, when we set our hands down. Exhaling, step your left foot back. And I'll recommend That block that's near you, slip it toward the back of your mat. So as you lie down, you have a nice, firm, solid object against which to press your inner ankles. Hands forward for cobra. Inner ankles grasp block. Tailbone shift down. Inhale into those low back bones, just like we did for the abdominals. Use your hands, pull the mid-spine away from the low spine. The chest up away from the ground, stretching those legs back. Exhale, lower down, downward dog. You may need to take an additional breath right here. Warrior two, inhale the right foot forward. We reach those arms out to side. You can go palms down. It's the usual or the traditional way. Slightly different feeling. By a couple different experiences. There's not we can get a clearer and more concrete body, a gross body. You can feel the ribs move. You can feel the tissues stretch. You can feel the hand bones spread. You can feel the joints starting to shift. Okay. So we can get clearer and clearer maps, if you will, of our physical body. And while we're in this warrior two, we'll start to feel the body, the volume. Includes skin. So we're treating the left shoulder. I put the left hand behind the back, and my right hand will simply hold the left wrist in place. Inhale where you feel your hands touching your back. And while the left hand remains stationary, exhale, reach out through the left elbow. So you may be creating more space or slight bits of movement in that left shoulder. Now let the breath start to move into any of those solid places. Sometimes what we're feeling in solidity is coagulated energy. Energy can coagulate. Its fluidity can be reduced to where it feels like there's some solid substrate in our person. And we can feel that. Sometimes it feels like a block or a little clog. Or like my breath just doesn't quite get through, kind of like a drain clog. Well, let's release extended warrior variation. Inhaling right arm to right thigh. And the left arm straightening it, raising it, not quite vertically. Your left hip, your right one. Go for it. And inhale, place hands down. I hope I'm not forgetting something. Oh, interlock, interlock, interlock. Thank you. Felt it down, the left hand behind the back. When you connect hands, press out through that back heel. Like you're reaching that left heel, that back heel right through the ground, away from your waist. And now we release from interlock. Inhale, unwind. We'll set the hands down. Exhaling, step back. There's likely that block at the foot of your mat. Grasp it. So as you're lowering, you're engaging the legs. Grasp the block as you lower. Good. Re-grasp the block. So the tops of your feet are on the floor, the insides of your feet grasp the block. And with those legs turned on into cobra. So breathing into the belly, legs stay on. Chest get back as you exhale. Pull the chest forward, lowering, lengthening the chest away from that block. Lower all the way down. Deeply inhale into the belly and the low back. Slide your hands under the shoulders. Exhaling, downward dog. Downward dog. Okay. Work a chest opener in Warrior Two. Inhale your left foot forward. Our chest opener is clasping both hands behind back. Oops. No, this is the right side. We started the left side first. Thank you. All right. So I've got both hands behind back. Inhale. Press down through the soles of your feet, lifting the chest bones away from your pelvic bones. Exhaling, gently send the knuckles down. Keep skull bones over your pelvis. Let the breath penetrate that collarbone area. Feel the breath moving in under this chest wall, under the sternum to which your heart is connected. Good. Now, when we release the hand on the ground and the right knee, add a little extra padding as long as you've got it. And we'll go hands on hips. Okay. So with both hands atop the hips, the elbows pointing back. So the elbows won't be out to the side. You have to slightly pull them back. Press down through your feet, your legs, and inhale. Press with your hands. lifting, growing the chest up. Exhale, push down through the soles of your feet, through the right shin and foot bones. And when you release, the hands will remain in our lunge. Hope. Whoops, 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 I'm falling. Grab your loop of strap. Make a nice large loop. Very large. Okay. And the right foot goes into the loop. Now, if you're having a little bit of a tipsy day, you can use your left hand to just post up on leg or wall. Otherwise, bring both hands to the strap. Now reach the elbows forward as you lift the elbows and the forearms upward. With your breath, feeling inside for those little net gains of space, upliftment. You have to really press those feet into the earth. Give it a few more deep Ujjayi breaths. And if you can or like, Sarah, you can bring those biceps and those elbows even more closely together so that your arm strength helps lift and grow that. You start to grow a new perception of your body, a more spacious perception of your body, of your being. Right? Let's release. So we can just set the strap down, lounge lunge. Place the right hand down. The left arm hugs the outer left thigh. Lounge lunges, one part squeeze and turn. That'd be to our left. And one part side bend or drape and lunge. Reaching back to that right big toe. And inhale. When we unwind, you may have to just disentangle that strap and we'll slide it back for chaturanga. Step back, lower. If your back feels delicate, choose Cobra, keeping the belly and the pelvis on the ground, or with a really strong downward press through the tops of the feet, inhale, Upward Dog. So I have to press down and squeeze inner ankles in so they don't sickle. Exhaling, Downward Dog. All right, so we've got that chest opener in Warrior Two. Inhale your right foot forward. So here are hands clasped behind back. Reach the knuckles down. I find enormously helpful that my foot pressure, my cognizance, my perception of my feet enables that upliftment through the chest. So if I have restrictive focus, I'm only focusing on the chest, it'll be very challenging to, but if I feel the feet interfacing with the ground, I feel that energetic connection, that spatial continuance with the ground. The experience of uplift in the heart, totally different experience. It's much less mechanical and it starts to feel much more about light and density and translucence and fluidity. When we release, okay, we're setting the left knee down, 2 forms of lunge. Please pad your left knee and your left foot. I'm just preemptively set up my strap. Our first lunge is hand pressure down atop the pelvis. Okay. Draw the elbows back, and you may have to draw the back of your head back. Just because most of us will tend to jut it forward. All right, foot pressure, shin bones pressing down. Inhale, hands press down. You feel the sternum lifting. Exhaling, press down through those feet. Keeping those elbows drawn back. And yeah, you can come into that. Yeah, if it goes right into that hip area, great. We start to free up the spine as you're accessing all of that really great hip stuff. There you go, there you go. Now just making sure you press and you start to feel the bones, the internal space, accommodating that power, that energy. So creating or finding new ways to be a spacious container allows us to conduct and work with more energy. Again, this all directly corresponds to our deep breath. Okay, now I'm going to soften up that hand pressure. The strap is for the left foot. And if you can only have one hand grabbing the strap, let it be the left hand. So if you need the right hand to keep you very steady, post with a piece of furniture. If you don't need that degree of steadying, place both hands to the strap. Keep lifting up through those elbows. Keep lifting up through those ribs. Keep pressing down through those feet. It's okay if those leg muscles and those hip muscles work a little bit. As we remain connected to our breath, you'll find there's a little bit more space. And where we detect a little bit more space, often we'll feel a little more zest or heat or aliveness starting to circulate. That's so great. Keep breathing. Keep breathing, keep circulating, keep that activity in play. Keep it in circulation. That's really cool. Stay with it all the way through the exhale. That's really great. One more very deep breath under the heart. There you go. Lifting the heart away from the hips. That's cool. Good. And then we'll release, set all of that down. All right. Oh, we have a lounge lunge. That's right. The left hand down on the ground, the right arm supplies the squeeze. As I engage my inner right leg, as I apply pressure through the inner right foot, that helps me feel into a very cool waist spot. Okay, it's kind of that left waist right around the hip bone where the connective tissue starts to become more dense. Hands to ground. We're exhaling, stepping back. Okay. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. So again, if your back feels delicate, keep the abdomen and the pelvis on the ground. If your legs feel strong, push those tops of feet down for upward dog. And exhale, we'll press back. Okay. We'll do one final relief move. Inhale, step your left knee between your hands for pigeon. Now, because this is a back unwind moment for us, you can work pigeon just in this forearms down. But I like bringing that foot up, grabbing the foot. This will supply a good amount of extra sensation around the hip, but there's something about that, anchoring and using the foot and that lengthening through the left side that feels very relieving to me post deep lunge. So I'm going to grab the foot. This is optional. twisting toward the foot. As long as my foot supplies some activity, some pressure into my hand, and feel that burgeoning space in the left hip. I can feel how that kind of refracts into the low back tissues, into the lengthiness through the left side of my low back. And you can feel as you're breathing into that left side waist and hip, does the breath seep in? It's getting ready to snow here where we are. And knowing and feeling how this front and how this precipitation kind of snowflakes in, it's not unlike our breath kind of snowflaking into our body and our energetic field. And the quality of our breath really does, like kind of snowflaking in, kind of not only enlivens, but it creates a fullness. I see it all the time. It kind of fills one's field. It supplies and fills one's field. It's a really beautiful quality of fullness. Just letting your breath kind of snowflake into those back and hip parts. All right. Let's inhale, unwind. And we'll use a simple downward dog, just stepping back to change sides. Inhale your right knee between hands, pigeon. And so we can take pigeon very simply by setting our forearms down and just letting the back of our body just passively and softly relax. And I'm going to choose twisting toward the foot. Couple of little things I think make this a valuable back release is the foot pressure. So to place foot pressure into the arm or the hand helps me sense the spaciousness in the hip area, the hip socket. And then if I can remain spatially aware, I can, with my breath, kind of grow that sense of space through the entire right side of my waist and my back. Inhaling as we unwind. This will be our final downward dog. Bring hands under shoulders. Exhaling, downward dog. And in downward dog, one final time, use legs and lift the pelvis away from the shoulders. Reach the heels toward the earth. And when you set the knees down, consider Shavasana. So we're making our way to a rest position, please. Add layer if you love, socks. And so though our breath becomes gentler, and feel each breath rhythmically moving the body in a very physical way. There's this rise and fall. There's this physical movement, the bones and the tissues, like sails catching each breath. As you attune to the fluidic components of the body, you can feel how each breath ripples through an even subtler or fluidic substrate. And if you practice feeling this pocket of air around your skin, we can practice feeling, say, like the 3 to 6 inches around the skin. If we just gently expand our feeling awareness into the air, and this is also the backside of the body, so you have to kind of feel in and through the ground, around the buttock and the blades and the head. Start to feel how each breath contributes to this layer of our body. It's very energized. To me, there's a kind of a magnetic quality, but there's a a fullness and a thinness quality here, almost like an atmosphere. Those layers of atmosphere around the earth. Well, our body has a very active atmosphere. And our breath feeds that. It feeds the kind of the magnetism, the boundary. Now, when you're ready,